Good morning. This is Yarrow. Welcome to the Yarrow podcast. The long weekend for Easter is over here in Vancouver. I am back to work. I hope you're back to work as well. Over the weekend and last week, I had a online chat with some of my friends back in Australia, and I shared with them a tool I came across through Indie Hackers. You might know the indiehackers.com website. It's a great little community where people share stories of how they're indie hacking and growing companies, to various degrees of success. And a story surfaced there that I had to explore further. So this person claimed, and this is the highlight here, the headline, that they've grown their AI tool to $500,000 per month, so a $6 million per year business in just 3 months. And the tool itself was claiming to be an AI agent that could just grow your business for you. Plus, of course, they had used their own AI tool to grow itself. So dog fooding, as it's called in startup language, you feed your dog food, and that's what you're selling is the dog food. Anyway, so I had to investigate. The tool is called Polsia. I think that's how you say it, POLSIA.com. I will tell you the short story is I tried it. It didn't do very well. I stopped. It hallucinated. And just to give you a summary, it's basically a tool where you give your website address, the AI agent starts studying what you do, starts doing market research, then it can start running campaigns, including cold email outreach. It can even run your meta ads. You have to obviously set up some permissions, connections to do some of this stuff. But it's compelling in the way that it's quite simple and looks like it could do some of this stuff for you on an automatic basis. So I played with it. It did a pretty bad job, and worst of all, it actually just like hallucinated what it was doing. And to make it even worse, a few days later, I checked and my credit card had been charged 4 times for things that I did not request, and it didn't even do. So it was supposed to, it offered to do meta ads to grow my business, and I said no. And then apparently it ran some sort of function as if it was doing meta ads, even though it didn't do them, and then charged me $10 a day as if it was running meta ads. So it was a real fail experience for me, and I cut it off, and I was like, I can't trust this to do anything well, maybe in the future. It may be skeptical to believe the claim of 500,000 a month in 3 months, but even regardless of what's true, what it points out is something that is true. There are certain companies, I call them unicorns, they are called that for a reason, that get a very fast outcome because of really two variables. So this particular founder had claimed that the company had grown thanks to basically building in public. So they were talking about the success of their company on X and on LinkedIn. People were then sharing it, talking about it, and the company was basically getting this viral outcome. And I believe that when you have the combination of a interesting, compelling story, an interesting, compelling product. In this case, obviously, something that's supposed to grow your business for you is very compelling. And you have a result that sounds extreme, $500,000 a month, $6 million a year within just 3 months. That's going to get interest. That's going to get shares. That's going to get potentially media coverage. For example, the Indie Hackers article. So there's this unique mix when you have a unique product or service or offer that is a little special. Something about it is powerful, like new, or something about it that people have not experienced before, and potentially is life changing. Maybe that's a big claim to make. And it has some kind of outcome that's also rare. So if you combine a rare offer with a rare outcome or a rare story, then you're going to get that sort of self-reinforcing, viral loop. And that's amazing. And that's the story we hear about the most. And that's the scary part here, because you believe that that's going to happen to your company. You believe that's what happened to all successful companies, is they got some kind of incredible traction very quickly because of these combination of variables. And all you have to do is come up with something that is unique and special and have a great unique story behind it. And frankly, that is not going to happen. It's very rare, very unlikely. I'm all for aiming for that, but you have to be realistic. And, much like any kind of outcome in life, there's these unique stories we hear about in the media that are not the common outcome for most people on the planet. And that's the same for entrepreneurs. There's an outcome that's far more common when it comes to growth, which is a slow, hard slog of trying to figure out which channels work and which messaging on these channels work, building things up slowly, compounding. Yes, you can have potentially viral moments and word of mouth and referrals, but it usually happens on a much smaller scale within a very niche market. Like you build something for plumbers, and eventually plumbers start to share with each other, and away you go. That's what my current business certainly is an example of. We don't get viral moments, but we get some sort of word of mouth referrals within niche communities. So, which maybe kind of lead to this conversation I had with my friends online, where we were discussing like, go-to market growth, getting traction is really quite difficult. And I think that's becoming a harder truth to come to terms with when we realize how much easier it is to build ideas thanks to AI, as I talked about in my last audio last week, because you can build something now that really is what you dream of, just using some of these vibe coding tools. You're not stuck thinking, I have to hire a team, I have to spend lots of money. And in the past, that might have been the thing that stopped you, is you just can't build the thing you want. But now that you can build the thing you want of a weekend of vibe coding, and you have the thing you want, once it's finished, or at least an MVP, you then realize, oh, actually, building it really wasn't the problem. It's getting people to use it. And that's always been the case. Like any business you have succeed, you know the truth of it. It's very hard to get the business to actually get customers. So I think that's certainly experience my friends are having too, is we're all producing more, and it's all of a higher quality, and it's starting to match what we were dreaming of in terms of features and functions. But that doesn't mean it actually will succeed or be a business. And in some ways, it's even harder now because anyone can build the thing too. So your idea that is unique can very quickly be copied, or maybe someone's having the same idea and they can build it too. So it's kind of reduced the barrier, which has made the go-to market function even more important. Like marketing now, I honestly believe, is going to become this incredibly like almost magic art that some people are going to be good at. But it's even hard to do because the barriers for marketing are also dropping in terms of content creation. So actually getting campaigns to work, it's going to be like, an artist is going to have to be very creative and come up with, dynamic media and be very good at testing things and so on. That's always been the case, but even more so now because the volume of product and services will be increasing and the volume of content will be increasing as well. So I think about my own business and like how slow it was for growing. I found it very frustrating early on I'm talking about my current agency. And I also realized, though, as I have realized with certainly my two main businesses in my life, how the effort I put in over time has led to outcomes that, while certainly not these crazy viral growth moments, have been these kind of strong, steady businesses, because I did the work to build a foundation that led to at least some form of consistent customer, a go-to market success, as they call it now. So incoming leads were coming because of the work I'd done and the work I was still doing. In fact, as I record this, we had a sign up to my agency just this morning. It was a general manager of a golf resort facility in the States. We have a lot of very different types of customers for my business, but that was just a sort of standard story. A person in the organization found our company through AI and Google search. They did a call, then they got the general manager to do a call, and it takes a couple of weeks, and then the GM just signs up, and now we start onboarding. And that's very typical for us. It's either that or word of mouth. Same story. We had a referral potential come through over the weekend as well. So, we'll do some calls there, see if that can turn into a customer. And none of that is like this magic word of mouth, super exciting thing. We just have this service that solves a problem that within certain channels, it reaches the right people. And they become customers, and then you have a 7-figure business many years later. It takes a while, and it's not $6 million a year in 3 months. Hey, I'd love that outcome too, but at the end of the day, like I said, that's a special case, and I'm always shooting for it. I think we all should always shoot for that outcome, but we have to be realistic too. What we're building and who we're building it for, and the competitiveness in the marketplaces makes things challenging. And realistically, and I think this is probably the important message to end on, especially for those who are maybe haven't had any business success of any significant degree, you have to, I actually had this as one of the previous audios. It makes sense to have two goals. You have like this vision, dream, unicorn outcome that you should shoot for and build for, but also understand that the more likely outcome is a slow build towards a stable income source from your business that may still be life-changing. Making $1 million with a business will dramatically improve your lifestyle. I guarantee it. especially if you've never earned even $100,000 a year before. It'll significantly improve your life, and that's a much more likely outcome over a period of several years than within 3 months getting to 6 million. And if you have those kind of two ideas held in your mind, yes, I would love to get this explosive growth, viral moment, like super incredible unicorn outcome that will dramatically change my life financially. But I also know as a worst case scenario, I'm going to aim for, I'm not going to talk about failure, but a worst case scenario is I'm going to steadily build this business into a real income that also will be life changing. It won't be private jet life changing, but will be eat whatever I want, travel wherever I want, own my own home, all the good things that life can afford, which is not that different, honestly. Then that's a nice frame for your mind to be able to cope with the vagaries of entrepreneurship, because nothing is guaranteed. It's ups and downs. You're going to hear a lot of stories of this crazy growth, and it can be frustrating because you might be building something that is very similar to someone else's project that has taken off and is doing crazy numbers. And you're like, why am I not getting that result? And some of it is just down to luck. Unfortunately, luck plays a big part in this. Some of it is down to skill as well, timing, what you built, how you market it, who shares your story, your connections. There's a lot of things that go into something taking off. And that's true for big results or the slow and steady kind. Both require some form of luck, some form of repetition of outcomes, of marketing, of content creation. So there's no magic sauce here. Some people just get a bigger outcome doing very similar things, but we all have to do those things to get any kind of outcome. All right, I'll leave it there. If you are looking to do content marketing for your business, I have a growth framework. It's specifically for services businesses in particular. I wrote it for you who are an agency, a freelancer, a coach, an educator, a content creator, because that's what I've been for pretty much my entire adult life. It's a growth framework. You can get it at insidegrowth.com/framework. It's a free guide in video and in text. It basically outlines everything I've done to grow my services businesses from $10,000 a month to $100,000 per month. So to get to that seven-figure business level, I just go through each of the things that I consider important. There's basically 5 phases of this framework. You can go through them all and apply them to your business. Just go to insidegrowth.com/framework and you can hear the whole breakdown. Okay, my name is Yarrow. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you very likely on an episode tomorrow. Bye-bye.